These beautiful fellows are rainbow lorikeets. Unlike many birds, they don't eat seeds. Instead, they sip the nectar from flowers incredibly quickly.
But luckily for us, we've got some specialist camera equipment set up that can slow the action down and allow us to see how it works. And you can see those brush-like tongues lap up the nectar incredibly quickly, many, many times a second. It's amazing to see it, isn't it?
Absolutely extraordinary. And today we have challenged one of BBC Planet Earth's cameramen to try and capture one of the planet's fastest animals.
But is he fast enough to get the shot?
Also coming up on today's show, a medical emergency.
Until we get there and assess it, we really don't know what the situation is.
Forces keepers to take drastic action.
A world-class elephant expert helps Anne like never before.
When Christian comes in, he gets into the mind of Anne.
And Jean is on hand to help with the Bongo's bedtime.
But you have to be really quiet because they're very, very nervous.
There are 3 different species of big cats living in the park. Lions, tigers, and the world's fastest, the cheetah. Keepers work hard to ensure all 3 species are fed in ways that suit how they'd hunt in the wild.
All the lions will come out running out together, trying to take something down. The tigers, we might get them climbing up trees and getting high up and trying to use their strength to get to their feed. And then with the cheetahs, we do have a lure that we can get them sort of running after that. Yes, we do feed them in a similar way, but we've got different things we can do for each of them.
It's during these specific feed times that keepers get a glimpse of what their cats are truly capable of. The problem is, they're so fast, the movements are virtually invisible to the naked eye.
So I really want to know how our cats use their special adaptations to hunt in different ways.
Well, help is at hand. Last series, keepers invited wildlife cameraman Louis Lebrom to capture some of the park's intriguing high-speed feeders in super slow motion.
Well done. Look at her go.
Amazing.
Seeing the mantis in action got Amy thinking about her cats.
With the cheetahs, how do they reach those top speeds?
Well, today, Louis and his camera are back, and he's making it his mission to film the cheetah.
So my aim is to give Amy and Caleb a really in-depth and close-up view of how these animals hunt. Like with all wildlife filming, it's very up in the air. I'm hoping today's going to go really well, but it could go horribly wrong.
The only thing between Louis and the cats is this camera cage.
This is Simon to Tiger Team. Ready when you are. Over.
Last year, photographer Simon King used it to get close-ups of the tigers.
Here she comes.
And it got him closer than anyone expected.
That was a rev. Straight to the car.
Louis has had the cage modified for this shoot.
So last year, Simon King was taking still photographs from down here in this cat flap. But this time, I'm going to be filming from up here in my little cat window. It looks a little bit vulnerable. Paul could definitely get through there, but luckily for me, my lens will be there. And if my lens isn't there and we're travelling, it's got a little hatch that makes it perfectly safe.
The cage is set, so it's time to hit the road.
So I've filmed several big cats since I started wildlife filmmaking. I've had a few close calls with lions in the past. Naturally, big cats are quite inquisitive, especially when there's a big zebra-coloured jeep.
Caleb is ready too.
So we've got Wilma, Poppy and Winston out, and we're going to try and get them running as fast as they can, and just get Louis to come in with his high-speed camera so we can actually see how they achieve that speed and how they use that tail and that body to sort of manoeuvre themselves at that speed and keep their balance. I think even Louis might struggle because the cheetahs are so fast. It's going to be hard for him to focus on it and actually capture them doing their top speed.
To get the cheetah really moving, the big cat team is setting up a lure for them to chase. On-site, Techie Nick invented the lure last year, using a drill, a spool of twine, and a rag. But the cubs have never used the lure before. Everyone's hoping they're quick learners.
We're just getting Kayla to pick up the rag that's on the end of our lure, so he can then drag it out. So it's straight down the road. It's the best if it's on the road, they can see it, and hopefully they'll chase it.
So they use this explosive speed and explosive power to chase down their prey. I'm just hoping that they'll do it more than once, because cheetahs notoriously being fast means it's going to be really difficult to film.
You all ready, Gareth?
Yeah, all good, Amy.
Perfect. So you can just about see Louis in the cage, all set and ready.
I'm really wondering whether or not I'm going to actually get this shot, because the cheetahs are going to be running so quickly between A to B.
We're all ready for the cheetah now.
Thank you very much. Look for.
So here they come.
Go, cheetah!
Mum's just bringing out the 2 cubs. They're a little bit cautious as to what's going on, but they are magnificent. They're so sleek and slender, but incredibly muscular, and you can see those shoulders as they move. They're lifting up and down, really menacing.
What'll be really good today if we can get the cubs chasing after it. Wilma, we know she chases it, so it's getting the cubs into that, and hopefully they'll learn from her. They'll see her doing it, and they'll go as well.
Oh, here they come. Here they come.
We'll be back later to see whether Louis catches these cats on camera or not.
As the hot summer rolls on, the moment new babies start to leave their parents grows ever closer. In Monkey Temple, this year's pair of black-tailed marmoset babies are starting to gain their own independence. And I've popped along to meet them.
Oh, look at them.
They look like they're doing really well, Nadia.
Yeah, they are. So our babies are now about 7 weeks old.
Yeah.
And they're starting to wean.
So when they start to wean, does that mean they'll spend less time on the adult's back?
Yeah, so most of the time they're being carried around and not really doing much work for themselves. But now that time's coming along a little bit, they're getting quite excited, and they will hop off and have a bit of an adventure.
Now, I would assume that they would always ride on their mother's back, but that's not actually right, is it?
No, so quite soon after they're born, it's a bit too much for her having to feed them and carry them around, so Dad does much of the duty and carries them both on his back at the same time if he can.
I want to say it's quite an armful, but it's quite a sort of backful. It's like Daddy's carrying a really heavy backpack, isn't it?
Exactly, and they are really getting quite big now.
And if they were in the wild, would they then stay within the troop even when they're weaned, or do they go off?
They would try to as much as possible. Most calatrichids stay within family groups, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
But they can be quite territorial animals, so they do have their arguments amongst them, and that's what you could just hear then.
That lovely
bit of tweeting. That
oh look!
Wobbling. The babies have just got off the backs there.
Oh look! Come on, babies. You must feel so proud at this moment.
We're very lucky because these are our 3rd lot of babies. We've got the 2 older brothers in here, and these babies are, few and far between, so it's very lucky for us.
These are the world's smallest primates, is that right?
Yeah, so calatrichids are some of the smallest primates in the world. For blacktails, they're slightly larger than some of the smallest species.
Right.
But they've got quite long tails. Hi.
And voracious appetites. Well, congratulations on a really wonderful job done, and what a treat. Hello, Poppet.
The story of Anne the elephant's abuse in a circus is one that shocked the nation. Nearly half of the £1.2 million it cost to build this enclosure came from public funds, people who just wanted to see her have a better life in her latter years. And since arriving, with help from her dedicated team, Anne's physical health has steadily improved. She's now able to lift her trunk and use it properly, and she has an increased range of movements in her limbs.
I think in the time she's been in, what we've achieved is massive.
But for the keepers, Anne's physical well-being isn't the whole story.
We have many different enrichment ideas for really exercising her physically. So we need extra assistance from outside to help us sort of stimulate it mentally.
To help the team come up with ways to keep her mind healthy and active, The park have enlisted the help of Christian Schiffman, a world-renowned specialist in elephant behavior.
Since very small age, I was always into elephants. I looked at them, I draw them, I tried to read about them. I would wish to work for the rest of my life with elephants.
For weeks now, Christian has been observing Anne's behavior, doing studies using external stimuli. He's hoping to understand what makes her happy.
We hope to get some new insights which can be used for Anne.
And whether the keepers can do anything to make her life even better.
When Christian comes in, he does these experiments and he gets into the mind of Anne. So it's always nice to see new things and always excited when Christian comes.
Today, he wants to see how Anne reacts to the sound of other elephants. So he's playing the noises made by an unfamiliar herd.
She was out like a shot in terms of Anne's pace. It was pretty nippy, so she really wanted to see what was going on, which is a really, really good reaction to see.
She's listening, she's watching what's going on. I'm noting her, what I see in her, what reactions, the trumpet, her posture, the ear flapping, and how close she is to the speaker, to us.
Ross and Kev spend every day with Anne, but the work that Christian is doing is giving them new insights into how her mind works.
I think we don't know enough about Anne's sort of past history, how her relationships with other elephants have been. But listening and watching what's going on here, she can definitely recognise the sound of other elephants, which is good. She's not stressed by it, which is a real positive for us. You know, we don't want to do these experiments or studies and have her upset. So she's definitely not upset. She's definitely listening to the sound. And it's just nice to know that although, you know, she's a very old elephant now, she still knows how to be an elephant.
It will take Christian several visits over many months to complete his study of Anne, during which time he'll spend every single moment trying to learn all he can about her. But to find out what she gets up to when no one's around, Christian has turned to Anne's own CCTV cameras, which cover every corner of the house.
I'm checking every 5 minutes what Anne is doing. See which proportion of time she spends with which activity during a daytime.
And after viewing 5 days of material, he's picked up on a possible cause for concern.
What I've noticed is that Anne is always each morning swaying in before the keepers arrive. It's an unnatural behavior. We know it doesn't occur in the wild. In free-ranging elephants, we don't see that at all.
Christian suspects Anne adopted the swaying habit as a coping mechanism while being chained up in the circus.
When she first came 6 years ago, used to do it a lot. With Christian coming in, hopefully we can learn a little bit. With all these experiments that he's been conducting over the time we've known him, we can use different parts of that. Just try and just get rid of that swaying.
Having pinpointed the problem, Christian and the keepers now need to find a way to help Anne break the swaying habit.
Our plan now really is to come up with a decent toy, enrichment, we know that she likes different sounds, so we're going to try and use sounds as well as the enrichment, and hopefully put it all together and come up with something amazing. So when she wakes up in the morning, she's got something really interesting to do. It's a challenge, we're looking forward to it, and yeah, hopefully Anne gets something out of it as well.
We'll find out later on what they come up with, and more importantly, how Anne reacts.
In 2013, the park built Ray Bay, a specially designed aquarium for the sole purpose of breeding a vulnerable species known as the Thornback ray, found in British waters. Last series, Ben was on hand to meet some of the ray's first offspring.
You may wonder what it is. Well, I can tell you now, it's called a mermaid's purse.
Well, it's been a couple of months since his visit, and Jean's gone to meet the 2 babies that were hiding inside.
Hi, Christopher.
Hi, Jean.
They're looking great. How are they getting on?
They're getting on pretty well. One of them is especially hungry. What if we try and feed one?
Yeah, let's
This is a little bit of krill that we have here. Ooh, hello. There we go.
It's important that they eat, isn't it? Because the minute they're hatched, they kind of have to fend for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, when they first hatch, they have a little bit of an egg yolk still attached to them that they can feed on, which is quite important. But relatively soon, they start eating by themselves. They eat all kinds of little pieces of shrimps, little fish, anything they can get their hands on.
Why are you keeping them in this box, Christopher?
When they're out and about with the bigger guys, they're a bit vulnerable. We can also monitor them, make sure they're eating well, and this one is not hungry. Maybe it's a bit early in the morning.
So it's a form of protection for them as well, because
Yeah,
I can see
absolutely.
they're kind of perfectly camouflaged to the sand.
Yeah, it's a form of defense, so they all cover themselves and disappear, effectively. It's their only defense that they have. When they grow up, they grow these little thorns and things like that, hence the name Thornback. But at this age, they're very, very vulnerable. It's a very easy prey.
How long will it be before these two are fully grown?
They're fully grown at 8 years old. And
That's a long time.
yeah, it's a really long time. And if you check underneath here, we've got a few which are a tiny bit older. So
they're very,
those,
very camouflaged, aren't they, on the seabed?
those are 2 weeks old. These are about 16 months old. So you can see how slow they actually grow.
Well, these two look as if they're coming along nicely. And as their numbers are endangered in the wild, it's great that we can do our bit to boost the numbers in captivity as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been nice to catch up with them.
Thank you.
It's time now to return to cheetah country, where wildlife cameraman Louis is on his big cat mission. And it's a tough one to get a high-speed shot of the fastest animal to live on land.
Because they're so fast, it's all just a huge gamble.
But the team doesn't have long. The park is due to open, and visitors are on their way. To succeed, Louis must bag the shot before the first car. It's the cubs' first time with the lure.
Can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Just seeing how they move in slow motion is going to be amazing.
They're probably going to reel it in any moment. Here we go.
Wow, that was amazing. The two cubs were on that. That was great.
The team is keen to reset, but it seems the cubs have other ideas.
So Winston's just come to see the rag, so we're actually just letting him... Oh, you got a bit scared of it then. Out of the cubs, he's always been the most confident, and he's always been doing everything first. Before Poppy, he'll do everything. She's not far behind, and she's loving it as well. But it's always Winston that sort of goes there first and just tries it out, tests it out. I think Poppy's the clever one. She goes, yeah, Winston, you go and just test it out and just see what it is, just in case it's something bad. And then she joins in. No, it's great just to have them this close and used to it and know what it is. It's really good. They know Nick's here. They're happy with Nick being here as well, so they'll keep chasing it, and hopefully they'll keep chasing it in as close as possible.
It's a great first run, but Louis is struggling to keep up.
It's so difficult to judge where they're going to be, sort of to get focused right, but they're so quick as they run through frame. They're only in the shot for a couple of seconds, if that.
Until he watches the footage back on a full screen, he won't know whether it's been successful. While the lure is reset, the cheetah family gets some meaty treats to reward their hard work.
Good boy, good boy. Have a chunk, good boy.
The first run was fast, but the team think the cats can go faster.
Oh, here they come. Here they come.
Here they come. Yep, they're on it. They've got it.
That was great. It's a little bit of guesswork, actually, because I can only sort of assume that the cheetah's going to be running in the centre of the road, so I've sort of got to frame up in the centre of the road and just hope that they run through my frame.
With just minutes to go before the first visitors' cars arrive, Louis makes the bold decision to change his position and try and get a fresh angle.
That is the perfect position. Yeah, this should give us a great shot as they're coming down towards us, straight down the barrel of the lens along the road. It's a perfect shot.
So we're going to try one more.
Nothing like a bit of rag on some string. I'm sort of hoping this will be a shot, but you never really can tell. Yeah, come in.
Oh, here we go.
It's just the cubs this time. Oh, there's Mum, look. I think Mum ambushed that one from the side. That was a bit unfair. Definitely got that one. That one was great.
And it's a wrap. The cheetahs did their bit, but did Louis?
Back now to Anne's Haven, where experienced animal keeper Matt has recently joined the team.
It's an opportunity of a lifetime. Well, obviously elephants are the incredible animals anyway, and obviously Anne's even more a special animal. So yeah, I'm absolutely delighted to be a part of the team.
During analysis by elephant expert Christian, keepers were alerted to a daily swaying session carried out by Anne.
It's important that she doesn't spend a long time swaying because it's a very repetitive behaviour and it puts a lot of wear on the muscles and things like that. So the more that we can break the routine and just get her exercising more is going to be more beneficial to her.
Christian's research showed Anne was responsive to sound. This gives Matt a chance to use his specific skill set.
I'm academically trained as a sound engineer and in music production. So this is a great opportunity for me to nerd out a little bit and yeah, to obviously help Anne as well. Music is a great way to stimulate our emotions. It can move us, it can energise us, relax us. We've tried various different genres, a bit of jungle, drum and bass, rock, hip hop, but I think classical music will be the nicer way to approach an early morning start. Let's see what she does. The goats have clearly enjoyed it because they've just lied down in the middle of the paddock. Hopefully there she might find a favourite track which she might favour more than others, but that only time will tell with that one.
Matt will set a timer for the music to come on at 6 a.m. when the swaying normally begins. As well as this musical interlude, the guys are putting together a new enrichment device to be activated at precisely the same time.
We've called this Annabelle because the action that Anne has to use is like a bell. So yeah, hang up there. This hangs down and hopefully hold on to this. And when she pulls it, food come out the hole. We made the hole fairly small for the food to come out, so she really has to really work on it. It just breaks her mindset of what she normally does first thing in the morning.
With Annabelle the toy ready to swing into action, it's time to fill her up with some of Anne's favourite treats.
Chunks of apple, we've got some carrot. The goats just are being goats. They want to eat everything. They're curious as to what's going on.
It's going to be interesting to see if we can break Anne's behaviour. We want to give her a little bit more excitement in her life so she can, instead of just waiting for us to turn up for work, she can actually be doing elephant behaviours and natural things. Even if it's interacting with the goats or playing with this, it's just really making Anne's life that much more happier for her.
The toy is hoisted up out of Anne's reach. A timer will lower it down in the morning. The cameras are set to record, but will it be enough to break the habit of a lifetime?
Over in the back cave, breakfast is nearly finished. Time then to give them their regular health check. There are many animal training and monitoring techniques that have advanced in the park here over the years, but here in the back cave, they still do it the old-fashioned way, by hand. Now, Perry, we've got a bat here.
We do.
And we're about to give him a health check.
We are indeed.
So what do I need to do?
So we need to check his wings for any little holes that they may have sustained,
Okay.
and check his teeth, eyes, ears, general health check.
Well, I can tell you what, I can already see that his claws
are
pretty
lovely.
good. They're sticking into the gloves, making everything else a little bit fiddly. So here's one of the wings, so we look for that.
Yeah, that's lovely, healthy.
So this skin is very thin, isn't it, between the wings?
Yep, it's a very thin membrane, and their wings are actually really special. They're actually giant hands, really. So this will be like a kind of wrist area. This is his little thumb, just here, and then you can see there's actually, I'll just hold the wing there. There's actually 4 digits that make up the wing with membrane in between, and those digits are actually really long fingers.
So it helps them with flying. They're really good at flying that way. They can manoeuvre really well.
Okay, look at the eyes. Yep, the teeth are definitely looking quite good as he bites into the glove there. A little bit blunt as well, do you think,
bit blunt,
on here?
yeah,
But that's from all the
eat
fruit.
a lot of fruit, so their teeth do naturally wear down over time.
You do realise this is the first time I've ever had a bat in my hands.
What do you think of him?
He's beautiful.
Isn't he just?
So what's next?
Right, now we're going to check for a microchip. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. So that's 9915.
Okay.
And now we're going to weigh him, just to
Okay.
make sure he's a good weight.
So we just want to try and get him into the bat weigh tub.
Yes.
There we go. Get
There
the
we
lid
go.
on. Yeah, we've got
Okay,
it.
so that weight
And
there.
we've got 188.
That's a really good
Right.
weight for them.
Ready for his release?
Yep, let's do it. Pop the lid off and then...
There we go. And
There we
he's
go.
off. How do you rate my bat handling skills out of 10?
I'll give you a 9.
A 9? I'll come back and I'll get that 10. Thank you
will.
very much, Perry.
No worries, thank you very much for helping.
There's an emergency at the park. Team manager Ryan has just received an urgent call.
We've just had a report of one of our roan antelope. Initial report is that he's got something wrapped around one of his horns, but of course, until we get there and assess it, we really don't know what the situation is.
Roan antelope have massive, heavily ringed horns that can grow a metre in length. A 4-year-old male called Mo has been isolated in a stable. Vet Emily is concerned that if he was left out in the park, the baling twine could cause more problems.
The risk of that getting caught around his neck or caught on a fence or getting himself tangled up somewhere else could have caused an injury. So I think just stepping in now rather than getting him into any more difficulty.
She asks Ryan to dart him with a sedative.
Hey, fella.
He's not tame, he's not used to being handled. You know, if he was a cow, we'd be able to walk up to him or put him in a cushion and take that off. But for everyone's safety and for his safety, then didn't give us much option but to sedate him to get it off.
Good boy.
The team wait for the sedative to take effect.
You know, obviously there's a few hurdles when you sedate any animal. You want to see them go down nicely, and then of course you need to check that they're breathing regularly.
Mo seems to be going under without any issues, but Ryan must check it's safe for the vet to enter the stall.
I'm fairly confident with that, so I'm going to blindfold him and then...
Yeah, I'm happy.
It's important to limit the time Mo's sedated for, so they must work as quickly as possible.
It might be a bit too far under. Excellent, well done.
Just check we've got all of it. I'm happy.
Good to me, yeah. Okay.
Emily injects him with the drug to wake him up and make sure he comes round calmly.
That went really well. Next steps for Mo really is just to spend the rest of the day inside, nice and quiet and calm, and then hopefully by tomorrow morning he will be right as rain and ready to go out.
It's been 4 weeks since Mo's emergency procedure.
Let's see if we can spot Mo.
Now he's back with the herd and Jean is out on patrol with Ryan.
So Ryan, this is Mo, he looks well.
Yeah, really well. As you can see, he's moving nice and freely. So obviously when we anaesthetise an animal, when you knock them down, sometimes, you know, there's a chance of them damaging themselves on the way down, and of course then when they recover on the way up. So it's not just about, you know, whatever it is the reason you're knocking them down for. There's also, you know, dangers to that procedure anyway. But I'm glad to say that he's as fit as a fiddle. He seems to be enjoying himself out here as always. He's constantly moving around. That's probably why he ended up with a string around his horns in the first place, because he's quite a confident character, so therefore he's always exploring, checking things out. Sometimes the others are just quite happy to stand around looking pretty, but he always wants to get involved in stuff, so I think that's probably part of the reason he ended up like that.
Yeah.
But I do like these antelope. They're not the classic antelope shape. They've got big shoulders and big necks to them.
And that funny mane going down their back as well.
I always think they're kind of an antelope equivalent of a hyena. And I'm a big fan of hyenas. I think they're really fascinating animals, and I just love the ears. I think are just fantastic on their own.
Well, they are a beautiful herd. It's lovely to see all 8 of them together and see Mo back to full health, running around with no string.
Thank you.
I'm out with the Canadian timber wolves. Now, these guys are endurance hunters. In the wild, they will chase down a herd of elk or deer, sometimes for days, trying to identify the weakest animal. And then, when the time is right, they'll move in, split that animal away from the herd, and go in for the kill. Now, cheetah, as we've seen, use a different tactic. They use speed. But is Louis, the cameraman, fast enough to catch them in action?
Wildlife cameraman Louis Lebrom has been filming the cheetahs for keeper Amy with his high-speed camera.
So it looked good from where I was stood, but did you manage to get anything from where you were?
Well, we were in a really good position. I just hope that the footage pays off. If we go through from the start, there's the lure just gone past, and then I think this is that Mum?
That's Mum.
So we've got Mum, and let's see if we've got the cubs. Oh,
wow, they look huge.
So those are the 2 cubs as well.
The filming has paid off magnificently. Wilma and her cubs have been caught in action. Louis's camera records at 200 frames per second, which means the footage can be replayed 8 times slower than normal speed. So for what's just a blur to the naked eye, now every detail of their physique in motion is revealed.
So actually, if we freeze frame it there, so you can see her bum is a lot higher than her head. Raising of the rump just gives her more force to bring it back down again. So as she throws it up, throws her legs back, as she brings her leg forwards, it comes down again.
Yep.
So it's this constant compression and release, just like a spring. As she pulls herself together, she can explode out. But as she explodes out, she sort of overstretches to get that extra reach, which is what cheetahs are so famous for. They sort of cover a huge distance of ground over what seems like very short paces, but they actually stretch out to, you know, their stride can be meters at a time. It's incredible. I mean, you'll see if we just skip forward a couple of frames, she's covering a lot of ground per stride. And she's got all 4 legs off the floor for, you know, a good metre and a half. It's incredible. But then who's this as we come forward?
Possibly Winston. He's completely off the ground. And quite high off the ground as well, isn't he?
You know, a good foot, 2 feet off the ground.
You couldn't see that from where we were at all. It didn't look like they were particularly doing much.
Well,
it's all going full speed.
It's all happening so fast.
It's incredible how flexible that spine actually is, though, isn't it?
Yeah, as all 4 feet are off the floor, it's almost U-shaped.
Yeah. That shot's great, though, because Mum comes through, and then the cub comes behind doing exactly the same.
Exactly the same
motion.
She's obviously taught them well.
With their flexible spines, slender torsos and long, muscular legs, the cheetah's physique is built for sprinting. Once they spot their prey, they don't hesitate and can accelerate from 0 to 70 miles per hour in just 3 seconds. But changing direction at such high speeds is a challenge.
Out comes Mum out of nowhere, tries to swipe it, and that amazing sort of almost a turn on the spot.
Your feet are in complete different sort of directions in that shot, can't you?
But she's so well balanced.
Yeah.
What Louis's footage clearly shows is how their tail plays a vital role. They use it like a rudder of a boat to steer into and out of corners.
Because as she's turning, she's shifting right, and her tail is on her right side. And then as soon as she makes that proper right turn, it then switches over to the left.
I could not have hoped for any better, really. So thank you so much.
No, it was a pleasure.
Louis will be back later in the series.
It's day 1 of Anne's new regime, and keepers Kev and Matt are about to find out if all their hard work has paid off.
Just hit 6 a.m, so music will be playing now.
They hope that by playing classical music and introducing a new toy at precisely the same time, it will keep Anne entertained and halt her early morning swaying behaviour.
She's awake, and I think she must be listening to the music and just having a bit of a lie-in. We're glad that it hasn't startled her when she woke up like an alarm clock would. It's just something very gentle for her to wake up to and hear. So there she's getting herself into a better position to get up, using the slope of the sandman there to help her get up. Most elephants, when they get up, they'll swing their back leg to get the momentum. But with Anne, it's literally just using all of her stomach muscles, which is pretty impressive for an old lady like her, crunching her tummy muscles. There she goes. It's actually quite elegant the way she gets up as well.
She's up, but does she want to play or sway?
Anne's gone straight up to the normal corner where she stands, waiting for us to come in to give her breakfast. And she's started her swaying routine straight away. Annabelle didn't seem to have any effect on her this morning. So at the moment, it looks like we haven't actually broken her routine this time.
The keepers aren't giving up just yet. Day 2, and again, the guys check the footage.
The music's due to start in just a few minutes, but it looks like Anne's decided to wake up a little bit earlier than that today. What does she do? What will she do?
The question is, does she go to Annabelle?
So it looks like this time she's ignored Annabelle again and heading off to the usual place.
It seems Anne's swaying routine is a tough one for her to shake. The music and toy are not having the effect they were hoping for. Day 3.
She's on her feet, and what is she going to do?
Making a beeline for the door.
Going outside at this time is a first. It's not her normal routine.
She's pretty much free to do what she wants when she wants to do it. And this morning, she's had a scratch and gone outside.
Then she comes back in, but doesn't head for her usual swaying spot.
7 o'clock this morning, so the music's already playing. The Annabelle has dropped as well, so she's ignored it at the moment. And then something's caught her attention.
Will she, won't she? It looks like she's ready for it. And that's it, heads up.
Here she goes.
Go on. There it is. That's the one. Yeah, so yeah, she's got it. Just giving it a good old ring.
It's the breakthrough they've been hoping for.
Anne's found the enrichment and she's given it a shake. So now it's nice to see that she's spending a few minutes just picking up the treats on the floor and not swaying at the gate. So we have broken her routine. We're just reducing time that she actually does sway.
Good girl. Good.
Anne kept us waiting for 3 days before she actually played with the device first thing in the morning. The fact that she broke from her routine of swaying at the gate to then go and play with it, yeah, that's a win for us. Very happy.
Anne's keepers will carry on coming up with new ways to reduce her swaying in the hope that one day it may stop altogether. Anne's haven is designed to let her come and go throughout the night, but all across the park, animals are being brought in for a well-earned rest.
It's time to put the Bongos to bed, and I have to be quiet because they're a little bit on the nervous side. Now, Tara, so what's the first part of their bedtime routine?
So after a long day of exploring, they do come back over to ready to go in for bed. But today is a bit of a special cause, and we're going to give them some medication, but we only do it every so often.
Yeah, and I can see their beautiful bodies or distinctive patterns.
Yeah, each one's different. As you can see, Hero's on the left here, he's a lot darker than Alf on the right. So each one does have their individual colours, and the stripes are for camouflage in the wild.
They're really beautiful and massive ears. Every time we sort of make a noise, I can see the ears moving.
Yeah, it's really important for them because in the wild, obviously, they have quite a lot of predators, so they need to be able to listen out for those loud noises, and the big ears just draw in the sound a lot easier. So that's why we're a little bit more quiet, so we don't stress them out before we give them the medication.
So how are we going to give them the treatment?
Okay, so I've got some carrots here.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and lure them over this way, and then you're going to pop the spot on from their shoulders and down their spine.
So what's in here?
That's just a treatment, and it helps you control ticks and flies in the summer. So we do it every 6 weeks in the summer.
Well, this acts like a repellent?
Yes, definitely, yeah. And there's a lot of ticks about, so it just helps them not catch on to the bongo.
Yeah, come get your treatment.
That's a good boy.
That's a good boy. But you have to be really quiet because they're very, very nervous.
Just over the shoulders, and that's it. Perfect. Come here. Stop.
And with one final movement, Jean's work is done. The bongos can head to bed.
Perfect.
Come on, hero. Bedtime.
Good lad. Move up. Move up. Good boy. You pull the door to for us, please?
So, Bongo bedtime. Done. Tara?
Okay. Well done. Thank you.
It's almost the end of the show, but before we go, we just wanted to check up on the lovely Anne and to catch up with our old friend Darren Beasley.
Hi.
So the work that's been done with Anne, absolutely fascinating stuff. Has it been useful for you?
Oh, it's not only useful now, it's ongoingly useful. You know, we've had world experts here and we've commissioned researchers and reviews all the time just to find out what she needs and what makes her tick and how we plan for the future as well.
Because it is a very different care package, isn't it, for an animal that's had a life like Anne's, that worked in a circus and also had the level of abuse that she suffered.
Do you know what, coming up here today, dragging out of my office for this beautiful day, seeing her down here, moving around,
yeah.
She's got people over there looking at her, she's choosing to not see them, she gets to see us, you know.
That might be because we've got a bucket full of apples.
Could be. This is what it's about, the work that the team putting into this really special elephant. This is the reward, and this is the ongoing plan, you know, is that we're sifting through data now that says that the guys have got to adjust what they do with her in the day to fill up little slots where she wants to do something, they're going to fill up that slot. We're finding that out now, and it's a wonderful time. It's a wonderful time to be with such a special animal.
Darren, people talk about job satisfaction. This must be what it's all about.
This is it. You get no better. I couldn't work anywhere else and do anything else other than come and see her occasionally, and it's just a great reward. Seeing a healthy animal and a content animal, fantastic.
You've all done a really magnificent job.
Well done, Darren. Thank you. Sadly, that's all we've got time for on today's show, but here's what's coming up on the next Animal Park.
The keepers take a plunge amongst the penguins for a new feeding device.
Loading one in.
Come on, penguins.
The park has its very first pregnant male.
He looks like he's going through contractions, so they can actually be in labour for around 12 hours. He's going to be in a bit of pain.
And it's hijinks as the keepers attempt to round up the hyrax.
It's coming round.